Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
What up, baby?
What's up?
Poor Mikey holding down the fort all by himself last
I
week.
know.
We left you high
Thank
and
you.
dry.
It was rather boring. We need more Florida, except Matt, you're not in Florida anymore.
I
Unfortunately.
know.
Nope. I went west, young man. I went west.
My parents are currently in Estes Park.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
cool.
They're sending me these amazing pictures of beautiful mountains and like lakes in between the mountains. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah. And I wasn't here because I like had a double whammy. I had my in-laws in town, Jen's parents,
Okay.
and at the time of recording I was actually taking my daughter to Denver so that she could fly back to Miami for her homecoming.
Oh,
So
how
it
did it
was
Man,
go? We
oh,
were
she had a blast. She absolutely had a blast.
awesome.
heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It was really cool.
And
And yeah.
yeah. And I wasn't here because I was sick. So
I know. I felt so bad for you.
I know. I was like,
You
it was weird because it was like I was dizzy. Like, I don't know if I've never had vertigo. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I would have just been spinning. So who knows what I would have said last week.
I, honestly, that might have been better than what we normally do. You might.
That's true. I mean, I'll pray it happens again and then I'll join the live. Laura
Well,
Unfiltered.
Yeah.
Unfiltered. Laura on Dayquil.
Yeah.
On Dayquil.
I mean, I know we're Presbyterians, but we're not going to drink on the podcast. So that's the
No,
closest
no,
we're going
no.
to get. That's the closest we're going to get to like Lara being ripped on the,
Oh, man.
And let me tell you
Well,
another something thing with the
yeah.
elves.
Or you could just come to the conference and hang out with us at a bar.
Aha!
Exactly.
It's so close.
I
It's so
know.
close. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And
It's,
we're gonna do. And I hope this isn't news to you, but it might. Be, as I'm saying this, I'm like, this might be news to them. We're gonna do an episode
What
of the
are we gonna
pod.
do?
Yes, that's
yeah.
a great question. We're not gonna be live on the
It's next week, right?
24th.
24th.
We're
24th.
not going to
Yeah.
be live on the 24th because on the 21st, I think the full day, or maybe it's the last day of the conference. We're doing a panel as the podcast. So if you're coming to the conference, you'll be in the room with us. It'll be like a live studio recording, I guess, of the podcast, but it'll be like just questions from everybody at the conference. So, and then what we'll do is we will record that and then we'll post it on the Thursday when we normally would do this, if that makes sense. So you can come, if you're coming to the conference, you'll be on the podcast. We'll be doing a panel of what is the best way to not do a podcast. I think that's the
Love it.
title of the
How
workshop.
to fail at podcasting.
How to
101.
fail at podcast.
First, take
101
Matt.
and 102.
First mistake, let's put Matt Hedinger on video. I think that's the first mistake.
No, respect the
No.
beard, okay, man? You
Yeah.
got the beard. All right, look at the beard. It's there.
I have a
mean-
funny story about my beard, though. Have I ever told you about my Apple experience with my beard?
Not
No.
me.
No? Okay.
No.
So Apple has this, when you work at the Apple store, they had this tradition, like when your first day, they clap you in. Like you walk in for your first shift and everybody stops and all the staff applaud you. Yeah, they applaud you. On your last day, someone jumps up on a table. Maybe you've seen this. And they ask for everybody's attention and they say something awesome about you. And then they say, and today is his last shift as you're walking out at the end of your day. And everybody stops and everybody claps you out. And then you hug everybody. It's very like, very, very wonderful.
It's like Lost.
It's like Lost.
The last season. The last
Yes.
episode. Lost.
So it's my last day. It's my last shift. I'm walking out. One of the guys that I started with jumps up on a table and does that. And then I'm halfway out the store and a second person jumps up on a table and does the same announcement for my beard.
Goodbye, beard.
My
We
my
love
beard
you.
my beard got a clap out at the Apple Store, so I got clapped out twice in the same shift. That's my
There's
claim
some.
to fame.
I feel like there's like there's two. Then there's kind of like there's two persons, different functions, right? Or is that little Trinitarian? Like you got the beard, and then Matthew, and then you got head. Maybe we have
I
three.
I have 3 personalities.
Right, and you have you do.
Yeah, I
can
absolutely do.
vouch.
My wife has diagnosed me. She's the one that figured out who they are, and she's named them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, have we not talked about
Do
this?
we need to ask
I don't-
what the names are, or should we filter the names that your
Well,
wife calls you?
actually, let me tell you who they are, and you'll see if you can name them. Let me tell you who
Okay.
my personalities
Yo,
are.
head.
Okay,
Is head one?
absolutely. So there is the serious guy that's always kind of grumpy. There is the life of the party,
Head.
and then there is the guy that's suspicious of everybody, like out in public, like always looking for danger.
Is it like Matt and Matthew, or is that how it breaks down?
It's Matt. Matt is like the serious guy that like
Yeah.
my wife's like he's not head all the time. Like he's not
And there's-
always
And there's Matthew.
no.
Matthew.
There's Matt, and then
Sherlock
there's
Holmes
there's Matt. There's head, and my wife. We have been at functions. We have been to like social functions that have been boring and dreadful, and my wife will look at me and she goes, "I don't care how you feel right now. It's time for him to come out." you,
Bring
need
him
to
out.
stop-
Bring him out.
Bring
Yes,
head out.
you need to stop being Matt, and you need to turn head on because he is like he's who this party needs. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. She's like, I don't care.
Wait, is it like she rubs your head? That would be pretty
No,
awesome.
she just
Bring him out.
no, she
Bring
just
him out.
it's like I have the worst superhero alter ego ever, and it's a youth pastor. Like it's
Dude, it's weird. There is a truth to that. Like the youth pastor
Yeah.
definitely like all of a
There's
sudden
a
like, I'm just, like,
bipolar, yeah.
hanging out with adults, and then I walk into youth ministry with those same adults, and I'm just a totally different person.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like, what just
Same.
happened? I don't know what happened. Like it just happened. It's just like a portal.
Switch.
When you walk
yeah.
through the student ministry building, just bloop, you're like,
Well,
you're
and
like,
I don't think it's disingenuous. I didn't tell you who the third
Yeah,
guy
he's
is
the third
named after my dad. The third guy is
Okay.
Chuck.
Chuck.
Chuck is the cop who's always
Chuck.
like looking for like
Chuck.
yeah.
Don't mess with Chuck. I'll find you out.
Don't mess with the real
Chuck
Chuck.
Norris.
I will find you. Kill you.
I have a very special set of skills.
Chuck does.
Chuck really
He does.
Real Chuck really does. Real
Yeah,
Chuck,
yeah.
Real
Yeah.
Chuck is like Dirty Harry, like every movie, TV cop you've ever met. That's my dad.
Yeah.
No, but I would say it's not disingenuous. Like what you're saying, Mikey, like when you go into like
No.
that
No.
mode,
No.
that's really a part of who you are.
No, it's the real you, actually. The
Yeah.
real
Well-
you is the fake one. It's who I want to be.
I'm
when I
pretending to
fucking-
be grumpy. I'm
I'm
pretending to
Right.
be unhappy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretending
Oh.
to care about budgeting.
But there,
Isn't that the truth?
okay. This is great. This is my. I'll love to ask this question. What is your absolute least favorite task as a director of a ministry? Like, what is the thing that like I know I have to do this today, and it's like the worst.
And I said it. I cannot stand budget season. Literally,
Yeah.
loathe looking at Excel spreadsheets with expenses and incomes, then doing math with the
Doing
pennies.
math.
There's like
I was
cents.
doing math.
There's this period, and then there's these decimal like spots for pennies that I'm like, what? And then they got to
What?
carry over the number, and you do the math, and you're like, why does this not make sense? Like I should just. Why is there not money in my accounts? What happened? Who spent the money? Who did it?
That transcended the task. Like now we're talking like Mikey's trauma. Like, and I'm really
yeah.
like, do we need to audit your
And then
church because
and
are
then
you
it's
being
like-
ripped off?
And then it's like we do budgets the way we do budgets. Listen, I hope they're not listening. I'm gonna. The way we do it is like dream, guys. Dream whatever you want to dream up. Like go and like dream your. And so you dream it. Then you submit it, and then slash.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have this. And then you're mad, but it's like, why am I mad? We're still gonna have the same amount of money that we had last year, but all of a sudden now, it's like you pooped on my dreams, guys.
Yeah.
They're like,
Don't you want
dream.
kids to have fun?
And then they grab you by the shoulder, like, wake up! Wake up!
Don't you want a virtual reality set in the student ministry building for the kids? Come on.
I need a Ferrari if I'm going to look cool.
Yeah, I'm sure they hate that season 2 with me. I'm sure they hate it as well. It goes probably both ways.
What's the thing you don't look forward to with Mikey? Yeah.
The budget.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, same. Budget season. I'm with you, Mikey. No numbers. I'm like, this is why I avoided most majors in college. Like I failed math in college.
Exactly.
Not to do
person.
it. Like,
you know what I'm good at? Spending money.
Right, exactly.
I am phenomenal at that. If you have money, I can spend it for you. Like, it's a guarantee.
I'm good at finding a good sale, but goodness gracious, yeah. But budget season and then turning receipts. Oh, forget about it.
Dude.
Okay.
Oh,
So
man.
I
Now
feel
we're
very
in the
differently
weeds.
about budgeting.
Yeah, you're probably a weirdo over there who's like, oh, let me get into the calculation.
No.
Yeah.
It
So,
sounds
like,
just like that too.
Yeah, he does.
That's the noise I make. I'm like, so like when I was a kid, I felt like it was my job as a kid to ask my parents for things. I did it like I was going to work. And I got freaked out whenever my parents gave me something because I thought it was their job to say no.
Yeah, you're like, what?
And so, like, I remember asking my dad for like something, and we were at I don't know what store we were at because it was 1,000 years ago. My dad was still like around, so it's like, maybe when Jesus was here, and we saw a trampoline. And I was like, Dad, can we have a trampoline? And he's like, sure. I was like, what? It was like earth shattering. So like, I feel the same way about budgeting. I get excited about proposing a budget. I don't do like by the pennies. I'm doing it like, this is how much I think this will cost. But I feel like I'm saying like, here's all the things I can do. This is what it would cost. If you say no,
The kids.
then I'm not going to do that thing.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you're picking priorities, and
Do you want to save souls?
yeah. Do you want kids to know Jesus? Yeah. Then I need water balloons.
I need pool noodles. Stat.
Well, I mean, like, look, are you even doing youth ministry if you don't have pool noodles tucked away somewhere?
Noodle. Yeah, and the students are hitting each other with them. Yeah.
But what is like, so like, I don't mind them saying no. I'm not afraid to ask. Like when we did our registry for our wedding, we go to this department store and we got the zapper guns to tag all the things that we want in our registry, and my wife's like, you can't ask for that. I'm like, I can ask for whatever I want. Like I'm running through, I'm like, bing, bing. I got 2 of them. I'm like shooting everything. Like, like it's like John Wick going through like a Russian mob party. Like I'm just whacking everything. And I'm like, I'll ask for whatever I want, everything. No one's obligated to give me anything. Like me asking does not obligate anybody in the registry. I feel that way about budget. I ask for the moon, and actually I'll do 3. I'll say this is what I think is like where you're at, but I could do this if I had this much more, and I could do this if I had this much more. Budgeting doesn't bother me at all. What absolutely twists my stomach, and it's worse because it happens more frequently, Lara, is the receipts.
Yes.
I hate doing expense reports, and it takes me forever.
I put that on someone's. That is literally someone who works here. Is their job is to do my receipts, like part of their job.
That's what we need.
I got confronted, and they looked.
Oh no!
I got confronted, and they looked at me and said, "Why can't you do this?" And I told them, they're like, "We feel like it's the least important thing to you." And I looked at them. I said, "Something has to be the least important to me in my life."
Yes.
And
yes.
I hate to tell you guys, but this is actually, you are 100% right. It does not carry, like it can't. I have no room to like worry about these receipts when I have, and then I listed everything I do, and they're like, okay, we get it now.
Now wait. When they said we feel like this is the least important thing.
Well,
to you.
they were right. Like
no. But I'm saying, was it getting done by somebody else at this point, or is this what got you?
I'm trying to do it. I'm just missing receipts, a few receipts every month.
Every month.
Every
I'm
month.
Every month.
gonna
I've never
lose
been
one.
able to pull them all off. Partially because my
Yeah.
wallet is not. I can't even hold receipts. Does that make sense? So like wallets these
Yeah.
days, they don't
No.
have like places to
Listen.
input cash and paper, and so my
Yeah.
wallet has like this little rubber band. I'm shoving them in there, and
Can I give you a hack
my
for this?
son plays with my wallet, and the receipts go everywhere. Sometimes they end up in my pocket and wash.
Well, that's
and-
just that. No offense, that's just dumb. That's on you.
no, it is. I'm not blaming. This is
Don't
there's-
give your kid your wallet.
No, when they came up to me and said this to me, I said, like, I didn't deny it or defend myself. I was like,
Yeah.
you guys are. It was a great conversation because what came from it was like, we're going to designate somebody to keep
Okay,
track of these.
so that's how
things.
you got that person. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
and because they wanted to solve the problem, and I was like, I'm not gonna,
Right.
in and of myself will never be able. I don't know how. It's not gonna. It cannot happen. Like it's not possible. And partially because there is just so much at the time before
Yeah.
this, like that we didn't have. I was like one of the only people doing all of these things, all these trips. 9 trips I think it was.
Oh.
And so I was like, I'm managing over 6 figures of money that comes in and out. Like
Yeah.
the
yeah.
fact that I'm missing a few receipts here and there is, all
Just
the
pray to
money's there.
God.
I've accounted for everything. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, we might have to tell the IRS like this, whatever. I don't know. Who knows?
So
Anyways,
can I get super nerdy on you for a second?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
ahead.
this is
When are
This
we ever
is-
gonna tell them no? By the way, should we just one day just be like, no, Matt?
No,
Like, no.
yeah.
Like, sorry.
that is please do. It's okay
It's okay.
to tell me no. It really is. Because I'm saying this is not for everybody. But let's see if I can change. How do I change what our dynamic looks like? I can't find it now. Oh, here we go. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna get nerdy. I'm gonna go a little wide here.
Okay.
I thought I was. Do. I lost me. Where'd I go?
You're on the screen.
There we go. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So this is my new wallet, and this is actually like 3
That's a
solutions.
daytimer.
It looks like a daytimer. It does,
It does.
but it's this is from Field Notes. We make these little awesome notebooks.
Oh yeah, those are great. Yep.
Field Notes, right? So I bought the Field Notes leather wallet, and it's got. I'm so dorky. Hang on.
We can't promote this. We gotta like blank it out, and
Yeah, so it's got a wallet section. So I've got my cards in there, right? And the reason why I did this was one, so I have a little pocket for my receipts. See
there
my
you
little,
go. I like
my
that.
little
Okay.
little thing. I can tuck them in there. I got my credit cards with me, my driver's license, all that stuff. And the reason why I did this is I wanted to go super analog with my prayer requests. Because I always would put prayer requests in my phone, and when it was time to pray for people, I would get totally disrupted and interrupted by my phone. So I went like this to do, like these are, I don't want to show it, but like this is an analog way for me to do prayer requests. So I always have those with me so I can always write them down. And then I just added a second notebook to it, and I tuck it in like this. So I'm actually carrying 2 separate notebooks. And this is like I'm trying to work on gratitude. So I actually have like 2 notebooks in here. One's for prayer, and one is every day I just try to write down the things that I'm thankful to the Lord for. And by doing it, I've tried to do those things digitally because I'm such an iPhone guy, and it's so disruptive. And so this is my catch-all bucket for doing those things completely analog. And it's like something tactile, and I can open it up and I can do both. I can do my little thing at the end of the day, and I can pray for people wherever I'm at. That's my nerd, but it's also my receipt thing. Like it solves that problem too, because it's so terrible.
I love
Sorry.
that. Field Notes, sponsor us, please.
Yes,
Yeah.
Field Notes. A Chicago company, by the way. And if you want to,
They're great.
I think there should be a youth pastor Field Note edition. I think that would be
I
fantastic.
think so too.
And I'll happily help you design it. Field
We'll
Notes.
We'll give them out at the conference. Go ahead, Field Notes.
Yes.
Hit us up.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We need a PCA Next Gen edition. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. So that was super. So that's the thing that we all hate the same thing. Budget versus receipts. Like that's the worst, right?
Yep.
It is tough.
Yeah. And I was like told I was a Bible major because I thought there would be no math and I thought there was only one book required and I already had it.
Yeah.
Neither of those things were true.
No. Have you heard of the BCO?
For those of you that are not in the BCO is the Book of Church Order.
Robert's Rules.
That's
Robert's Rules.
Robert's Rules is Presbyterian Jiu-Jitsu. That's how Presbyterians argue. If you want to know how to fight.
If we ran our meetings like Robert's Rules, like our just youth ministry meetings, like our 8th grade leadership team, like just.
Your 8th grade leadership team.
Yeah.
All right, there's a motion before the 8th graders.
So we're in the PCA, and we're going to.
The only motion kids know is 6-7.
6-7. Yep.
That's the only motion. Denied.
Apparently, that means nothing. By the way,
it means nothing.
Like it's just a troll, right? Like it's just trolling.
I think so. Yeah.
It's trying to make you think it means something, but
it's just brain rot. It's just things.
Yeah.
It's just things that are just repeated and said. I feel like the best way to fight brain rot is to use it against them.
Just keep doing it.
No, you say it, and they're like, "That's not for you." I'm like, "Then it's not for you."
If I can't 6-7, then you can't.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yep.
Oh, well, we actually have something worthwhile talking about today.
Well, speaking of culture, right?
Speaking of culture,
cultural stuff. Let's figure out where 6-7 is the gospel. Where can we see the gospel?
Well, actually, I feel bad. Like we shouldn't. That was just. Let's just call that our cold open. Anybody have any fun stories from this week of any?
Our cold 22-minute open.
Yeah, cold.
Ice cold.
That's an iced latte right there, baby. Yeah. That's an iced latte opening. Any funny stories? Any significant stories from the trenches this week?
Well, last night, I was telling a few coworkers this morning, just the depth of conversations last night for whatever reason. In particular, I was talking with a student, and she's in 7th grade, and she was just telling me what she's reading in the Bible, just her walk with the Lord, and just the depth there. I don't know. It was really neat, just the different conversations I had with students. Because we're in it, sometimes we don't always see clearly, like, and what I mean by that is that, okay, there's this quantity of students who are coming out every Wednesday night, but my question was like, is there any quality to what we're doing? Like, God, are you really reaching them? And so, because we're in it and we don't always see clearly. But I think these conversations last night just were showing me like there is quality, there is depth there. And so I just left so encouraged. Several of the students, we kind of had like a gospel panel last night, and I brought 2 volunteers up and just a conversation with them, and several of the students afterwards went up to those leaders and they were just like, "Thank you." So I think even students seeing like, hey, our volunteers show up every Wednesday, and there are a million other things they could be doing on a Wednesday, but they choose to be there and to invest because they care. And I think students realizing like, oh, like, thank you for being here, because you don't have to be. So I thought that was really cool from last night. What about you guys?
So I'm literally last minute working on my talk, for high school youth group. I get this text message that says, it appears our microphones, this is in a group chat, our student ministry staff group chat, it appears our microphones are gone besides one. Like, just no contact, like they're just gone. Like, so then it's like, okay, like where did these things go off to? Well, apparently, like, if you guys can relate to this, if you share a building with like a school or other, it's like a used, I guess the sound system went out somewhere else, and so they just took our stuff on a Wednesday for chapel, and didn't bring it back. And so we get there for middle school youth group, and there are just no microphones whatsoever, except for one to be able to do the worship, to be able to do all of the stuff that we try to do on it. And so, like, if anyone can relate to just the pure chaos of tech, the next text message is, anyone know where the batteries for the projector remote went? And then
they took your batteries, like straight up took your batteries.
I know, like someone took the doggone batteries out of the remote of the projector, and the projector's way up there. You need the remote to turn it on.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
You need a lift to get to the projector.
Yeah. Oh
so
my
it's like,
gosh!
it's some kid who ran in there and was like, I need it for my Xbox controller or something. Or,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they grabbed the AAAs out of the remote. So there's that. And then at high school youth group during worship, one of the kids was being so distracting. We asked everyone to stand up, for worship. And one of the 10th grade boys stands up with his chair, attached to him still, trying to be funny. So then I walk over, and clearly everyone's laughing, people are laughing at him. They're singing, I Can Only Imagine by no, I'm just kidding. They're not singing I Can Only Imagine, but they're singing worship. And I walk up to the student and I say, cut it out, man. Like, come on. And so I said, put the chair down. And he literally just lets go of the chair in the middle of worship and knocks over the other chairs and just like, wow. And then and literally I went into dad mode. Like dad with my 7-year-old.
Yes.
And I just grabbed him and I just pulled him over and I said, you're with me now. Like, we're done here. Like, whatever's. But I used to not be like that. I used to not be dad mode. I would just be like, you're funny, cute.
They are definitely gambling on the fact that we can't kill them in front of everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
They're definitely like.
I'm tapping him on the shoulder and saying, "Put the chair down," and he drops it. Just drops it.
I did what you said.
I know, and they're like, "I did exactly what." I was like, "Dude, I could just the things that are going are not. I need to repent to the Lord, So, anyway.
Well, you're gonna love what I did because mine was for fun, but I kind of so we don't own these, but we have access to a legit sumo wrestling suit set. So it was middle school last night.
I put that in my budget request and was.
You should 100%. If you can get a sumo wrestling suit, get one. So it's like the kind that you Velcro over you, and it's got the. And I'm our middle school coordinator is like, that's one of the games that he arranged was for these kids to, they could wrestle whoever they wanted. They had the mat. We had giant bean bags all around. It was a great little sumo thing, and no one's gonna get hurt. It's all padding, and kids are volunteering, and I'm like, I want to fight two of them.
Sumo wrestlers?
No, I was like, I'm already in a sumo suit. I don't need to get into a sumo suit.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, if I'm already in a sumo suit. Have you guys seen the YouTube video of the guy in the vest in a suit in an MMA fight fighting two little tiny fighters?
No.
Have you ever seen this?
No.
That's playing in my head. It's like the edit is like Freebird playing, and the joke is Dad's had too much to drink at the family picnic, and he's just this guy's all dressed up. He's 2 feet taller than these MMA fighters, and he's just going to town. So I was like, that's what I want to do. So I faced 2 middle schoolers in the sumo ring.
Wait, was this last night?
This is last night.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my gosh!
It was just last night. And
you have videos of this?
I don't know.
You need to keep your job, okay, dude?
You just started.
You just started, dude.
No, I didn't fight him, but it's like the James Bond or any when they all come at you, it's easier, right? They're wearing these giant sumo suits, they're bouncing toward me. All I had to do was just kind of redirect them into each other, and they would fall down onto the. It was hilarious. It was so much fun.
That was bringing me back to the days when I remember being in youth group. We would legitimately wrestle the adults when I was at camp. Everybody's just a different day and age we live in, man. Sumo suits were not required,
No, everybody. It was really fun because just watching these kids fall over and trying to push each other out of the ring. It was
Yeah.
the whole night. It was a nice highlight to the night. It was fun. You can
We'll
get
do
a hold
this
of the
game.
sumo.
We do a game called Sleeping Bag Wrestling where you take the sleeping bag, you stick it on top of kids. They can't see each other, two kids, and they're supposed to knock each other out of the ring. And it is actually really funny because it's like you can't. I mean, like some people do the warm tactic where they
Yeah,
get on the
yeah,
ground and they
yeah.
like just slow and steady, just
Yeah.
nudge. Some people just go full blow, like jumping and slamming down on each other. It's awesome. Try it out with your kids.
It's like the human version of pool noodles. They're basically a pool
Yes,
noodle.
and they're just
Yeah,
It
they
always
can't
comes
see.
back to the pool noodle. Yeah.
yeah.
always.
Oh, okay. Hard pivot, Mikey. You had an idea that you wanted to
Oh yeah,
discuss
speaking
today.
of pool noodles. Speaking of pool noodles, let's talk about culture. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I was, the real one of the things I take this. I was thinking about this. It comes from this book, Faith for Exiles. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
No.
Gosh, I wish maybe I have a copy right next to me. No, I don't. We give it to our parents because it's one of the things that we model. Like we tell people this is kind of our model of ministry. This is like the bones, the pillars, the structure, the skeleton, and we just put flesh and skin and on this thing. But it's this idea that we live in a culture that makes kids and students feel like exiles in a foreign land. And the concept is like what does it take? Where are the and they study. It's like they did this. It's very boring read actually. It's a bunch of stats, and they're researching kids and figuring out what kids make it through college still walking with Jesus. And so they do all the, it's like Barna Group. They do all this stuff and they ask them these questions and they come to the conclusion that there's 5 pillars that kids keep their faith through college and into their young adult years that they have coming into college or coming into their young adult years. And it's first intimacy with Jesus, whether they know how to pray, do devotions, read the word for themselves, they understand the means of grace, like they have this kind of personal connection with the Lord, intimacy with the Lord. And then the other one is vocational discipleship. They get the picture that their high calling is to make disciples that make disciples. Like they just understand that whatever they do, wherever they are, wherever God puts them, skills, career, that they're supposed to go and shape and build disciples with the people around them. And then the other one was countercultural mission, kind of this idea that like to a heart of service, they have this heart to like serve the people around them, to value the people around them, which is obviously against what culture says. And then there's the other one was intergenerational relationships, meaning that they have friendships with people that are younger than them and older than them. So they have a community, the church can really do that. And then there is cultural discernment, which is, can they listen to music, read books, watch movies, have conversations about politics, and be able to see what God honors in those things and where the image bearing is happening and occurring, and being able to build a bridge to that with people, and then being able to show people where God is better than where they're looking for their, pleasure or their saving or their righteousness or their whatever you want to put in there, that the culture they're doing, and then being able to redirect them to Jesus essentially. So it's and that is a little bit to like the cultural discernment. What I kind of described to comes from Tim Keller. He talks about respecting the culture, respecting things that's the image bearing, and then the other part is revealing where it falls short. The culture is kind of like, well, if you take this and draw this out, this is where this idea or this song doesn't quite hit the mark, and then redirecting to Jesus, where that's actually what the song is really looking for the answer in, or this movie, or whatever it may be, and pointing to Christ, which is the redirect. And so giving kids that lens going into college and young adult years where they're not under the shelter of their home, family, and even when they're, it's time for them, where are they going to go to church, things like that, to have that tool. Because I think that would be really helpful, especially in this day and age right now, to have tools, kids to have tools like that in a culture that is such, our kids are getting discipled, and they're getting discipled by most likely social media. That's an everyday, every second thing that they can access. And do they have the tools to be able to read Instagram posts, engage with TikToks, and go, this is what God honors in that. This is where it's missing the point, and this is where Jesus is better. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so that's well. First of all, that sounds like excellent benchmarks.
Yeah.
And that's on my. Okay, we're gonna have to go look that up and get that book. But I think that those are things that we kind of instinctively know, but it's always nice to be reinforced by research. So I like. Was it 5, Mikey?
5 pillars. It's
Yeah,
called Faith for Exiles. David Kinnaman, I think, is one of the editors of it. And it's a little bit older. They might have come out with a new version. It came out in 2020, 2021, I think. So,
Okay.
but it is really helpful for parents, especially, and it gives like really good questions to be asking your kids, to be thinking about, like how to kind of discern this in your kids. Is your kid able to discern? Are they kind of for these pillars? It's not like a read where you're like, whoa, like I'm so entertained. It's more of a read of like, this is really interesting statistically and research based. If that makes sense.
So like here's kind of my personal question for us. Like sometimes I really struggle with the stuff that entertains me. Like I feel bad that I like this. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're gonna do like I listen, but I don't judge. But I'm gonna be the sacrificial lamb, and I'm gonna tell you a show that I absolutely love.
Gilmore Girls.
I will fight you. I will fight you, Mikey. And
Best
you will
show
not,
ever.
And you will
Actually,
not be
I
wearing.
love that show.
I
That is a
hate
great
that
show.
show. I hate that show. First of all, no, you want to go? Well, we'll go, and we're not wearing sumo suits. This is it. I'll take you both on. Like those people are awful. They're terrible people.
That's what's so great about it.
Nobody talks like that.
You can feel better about yourself.
It's like somebody needs to slow those. I'm sorry, but okay. Now you got me
Sorry,
riled
man.
up. But
Sorry.
I'm gonna let you attack what I like. There is a TV show that I absolutely love that I cannot defend. I cannot defend it. Okay. Yellowstone.
I've never seen it.
No, nothing.
I've seen a couple episodes and I just could not get into it. I thought it was super boring.
What is it? What's this premise?
It's about an accountant that's making a spreadsheet.
Oh no! I was like, are you serious? Like, you're kidding me? Like,
In their
this is
receipts.
why it's never popped up as something for me to watch.
No, it's about a guy that owns a ranch that's also called Yellowstone, but it's adjacent to the national park.
Okay.
And it's been in his family for generations. It's thousands and thousands of acres, and it's basically his fight to keep the land against Native Americans that want it back and modern developers that want to, like, the Native Americans that kind of want to revert it back to what it was originally. Him, who's trying to hold on to a lifestyle of being a cowboy, basically, that's going out of fashion, and the modern pull of society trying to develop it and build homes and resorts and stuff like that, and fake cowboy stuff. And it's Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner is the patriarch of it.
So,
but it's
what's
very
the-
dark. It's very
it's
dark and
dark.
very ugly. Like there's like all kinds of sinful behavior, lots of murdering and lots of lying and corruption and stuff like that. So, how yeah, I don't even know where to go. And then there's shows that like I know that people that I respect a ton that will watch, and I'm like, there's no way I'm watching that show.
What shows?
I'm
Can you
not
say
gonna
on
say.
here?
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
He's
No,
saying
I'll-
Gilmore Girls.
Talk
Okay.
about us.
No.
He's like, Mikey and Lara watch these shows.
I'll say one. I'll put it out there. I'll say this is a show that I will not watch. And my
Okay.
wife and I have both talked about, like, we think this show would be awesome, but like we just can't bring ourselves to watch it. And it's Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, no, can't watch that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
No.
So,
I
but I
haven't-
mean, like,
yeah.
how
That's like the
hypocritical?
Lord of the Rings, right? The Amazon. That's like the version of that.
No, it's a fantasy. It's that
Yeah.
fantasy type of world, but
Okay.
And I'm not saying there's not this stuff in Yellowstone. I'm just saying, like, isn't that hypocritical? Isn't that like, you could kind of put like where you draw the line is really interesting.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know people that I highly respect and who will tell me about Game of Thrones and some of these shows, and I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's always, but
And
what's always
it's
interesting is, so like, let's say we're talking to someone who's like
yeah,
all in on Game of Thrones, and we know there's content in there that is clearly crossing boundaries. And so the question then is like, with that person that might not, they're just watching it, they love it. And you're like, well, what do you love about it? And that's where you start building that bridge of respect where it's like, okay, they start
yeah,
sharing like, oh, I love the fighting and the, this, the dragons and these like, great, battles between good and evil. I don't know. Maybe this show is really just a bunch of battles between evil people and evil people. I don't, you know what I mean? Like shows these days aren't as clear. Like, like
right,
here are good people fighting bad. It's like kind of, well, they're all
yeah,
kind of flaw, real big, it's not not as much clarity. But then you kind of can draw out in that, like, okay, like
yeah,
this person clearly can discern evil and bad. And so
mm-hmm.
we can start revealing of like, okay, like, so what's the evil people are this and that. And it's like, oh, that seems, you can start revealing kind of the understanding of like, what is he classifying as evil and bad? And then you can
Right,
talk about like, well, it's clear, like these are some scriptural elements of like, that we see in the scriptures,
yeah,
connected to Christianity, because a lot of times, like a lot of shows can't help it, but they'll quote the Bible left and right on things,
mm-hmm.
misquote it, whatever it may be, or
Yeah.
point to it, or show
Yeah,
reflections of like stories in the Bible that you can always be like, yeah, just that reminds me of like this story in the Bible or in the scriptures, and and then you redirect. You can always kind of discern too, like especially with kids, it's like, do you really think like this is something that like you're looking for this, but you're
mm-hmm.
looking to this form of entertainment? Is this like the thing that necessarily is what God has for you, would want for you to look towards? You know what I mean? Are
Yeah,
there other options out there? And people talk about too, like even like with video games, like, maybe it's a bunch of guys that are like, you're just taking a lot of risk on video games, but really you need to get out there and take some risk in the real world. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not just
Right.
on
yeah,
line. Now, those can be conversations over a long period of time and not in one sit
right,
down, but you can start kind of drawing things out and people, especially what they love. I know Taylor Swift came out with that new album. We did this yesterday
what,
with our servant team, and we
mm-hmm.
talked about it with our eighth graders, some of the songs, and we just drew out some things like, what is Taylor talking about here? Certain ones, and being like, don't you see where she's longing for something and she's looking to the wrong place? You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
whether that's a boy, a relationship, like, I think one of the ones we did was we were talking about one about friendship, or no, eldest daughter.
Yeah,
And it's about like making this vow and like, and it's like, isn't there only one person who can make a vow and keep it to the full? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and like kind of like these kids kind of trying to engage, you know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe you're listening to this song, whether it's good or bad, there's a cuss word in it. You know what I mean? And it's not me, I'm not their parent necessarily to be able to say like, hey, you're in sixth grade, you should probably be bumping that nonstop. That's but I can say, if you're gonna listen to it, let's use these tools so that you can listen to it
yeah,
and see where she's missing maybe the mark and some of this stuff, and where Jesus is a better aim. That she, if only she knew, that there was someone like
mm-hmm.
this. And I think one of the lines was, eldest daughter led to the slaughter, the eldest daughter, a lamb led to the slaughter, maybe, or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
And you can clearly say, well, Jesus is our older brother who is
Yeah,
led to the slaughter, and
Oh wow.
who keeps the vow, you know what I mean? The
right.
atonement, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And fulfills the covenant. It's like kind of one of those things, like, people can't help but still express, because we're all made in God's image, can't help, even those who don't believe can't help but express at times, even if it's really small, Jesus. So I don't know. Sorry.
yeah.
So
I,
if
That's
we're looking at, and I could, we could probably do, we probably should do a whole episode on her new album, but
oh no,
yeah,
seriously. There's a lot of stuff in
yeah.
there that's like
yeah.
all these kids are like literally going crazy about right now. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like nuts. Like, I don't know if your kids are, but mine are like very much
Yeah.
engaged.
But I
with
want to
her.
stick. I want to stick on it. So if
We should
this
just do
book-
one Taylor Swift and youth ministry next week.
There's a game I love to play from Download Youth Ministry. Plug. Bing. Taylor Swift or Lamentations.
Dude,
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
that is great.
That is a classic.
It's probably harder than
yeah.
you think it is. Like it's like
Much harder than you
legitimately
think.
like
Yep.
wait, what?
Unless you're a hardcore Swiftie or really big into the Book of Lamentations, either one.
Right.
But no, but like, okay, so this book is basically saying like, here's one of the pillars, which is discernment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, I think you can make a case that there's the higher the ability to discern, maybe the greater the freedom, right? But you know, how do we help engender discernment? And this is, I guess this is what I'm saying. Part of the punchline would be the higher your discernment is, the better you should be able to determine if something's going to be damaging for you to watch. And then you would choose not to watch that, as opposed to a fear-based or legalistic approach of like, oh, no one should watch that show.
Yeah, it's in the world, but not of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what we're really talking about, this balancing act,
Like,
right?
you got to live
Yep.
in this planet. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're here, but we're
And
exiles. You know,
and
what
I
mean? Like,
don't
we
have
belong to it.
yeah, I don't have a Puritan point of view of like, we should not be entertained.
Sure, yeah.
Right? I mean, and maybe I'm wrong, and feel free to push back on that. But Lara, what do you think about that kind of balancing act of like, it's okay? Well, actually, I'm thinking 6 different things, but yeah, thoughts. What are your thoughts about this idea of like developing discernment driving what we consume, and boundaries?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the first place that that I went to was this might be, I don't know, selfish, but like inwardly, like, am I doing this? Like the cultural discernment and like, what am I consuming and question? I mean, it goes back to what Mikey was saying of like asking questions of students and even of ourselves that are kind of drawing out like, well, why do I like this song? Why do I like this show? Like, is it reflecting or affirming what reflects God's image? Or but the balancing act, I mean, it can it's challenging at times. But yeah, I don't know. I think with students, it's giving them, it's asking questions and then pointing them to Jesus and like to something that is better.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love TV shows. I love movies. I love consuming all of that. And so it's and like, I'm a huge fan of reality shows, you know, so
Oh
sumo,
no.
you know, so but even some of those reality shows, I'm just like, okay, is this actually like good for my own soul in consuming some of this stuff? I mean, it's like, think about it in the sense of like junk food and like, okay, what am I consuming that is actually making me healthy and towards the Lord? And I think asking that.
No,
Question for-
we're not asking that question today.
I mean,
no.
next week's
Veto.
podcast.
No.
Oh man. But yeah, I don't know, Matt. What were like, you had mentioned there are like 6 different things that like you're thinking of. So like, what's like, I don't know, 1 or 2 things you're thinking of?
Yeah.
In regards to this.
So like, you know, my favorite movie of all time is The Godfather.
Yeah.
And by
Dude, there's the spiritual stuff in there.
Well, there is, but
yeah,
by any standard, that is viewed as one of the top 20, no matter what list you look at. As
number 1 all time.
It's often number 1, but any list, that's going to be in the top 20, easy, top 10, easy, as an art form. But like, I also don't recommend my students watch it.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't ever say, "Hey guys, go home and watch."
Watch The Godfather, and then like, so there's like this, you know, you're teaching.
There's a curiosity there though. Like, why is it number 1? in our
Well,
culture.
but yeah,
Why do
don't
we love that?
don't
Sorry.
derail me because I
I'm sorry.
got to
Go
get
ahead.
this out. Like,
Yeah.
I read this great article about VidAngel,
Mm.
and I had these kids that that were in my youth group, and like they would mention these shows, and I'm like, there's no way your family is watching those shows. And then I found out they were watching them on VidAngel. So like, and I'm like, but then I thought like, well, does that mean that there's 10 minutes of that show each episode that you can watch? Like
Yeah.
what? Like,
Seriously.
and then what's the point of watching it on video? And that was the thing about, and this is where I'm going to tie it to youth ministry. Like VidAngel, this article about VidAngel was suggesting this idea of like, you get to pick what you filter out of VidAngel. Right? So like you turn on the filters for the things you don't want to see. And then it was questioning your heart in that process of like, well, why did you not filter out other things and you filtered out some things? It's kind of like this idea of like where we draw our lines, right?
Yeah.
And so like why should you be watching something that you need VidAngel for? Was kind of the question. And why am I watching?
Interesting question. That's a good
No, dude, it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I watching stuff I
Yeah.
don't want my kids to watch?
Yeah.
I do think that there is a linear aspect to this. And I think I really like what you propose, Mikey, because I think discernment, your ability to discern what you're watching, I do think is, as that increases, you have greater freedom, I think, to watch different things. So I know that I personally like to watch things that are for optimistic reasons. Right? And so if I'm watching bad people, it's because I want to see them redeemed. Or I'm watching shows that have an optimistic point of view. I just know that about myself. Like, and I think we all in ministry, like we've seen people hurt, we've seen people damaged, we've seen people hurt themselves and damage themselves. We don't need the gray area. We don't need like the anti-hero that the rest of the world does. We actually want to see the win because we've seen enough of the losses. I don't know. That's my kind of thought. I mean, like it's, even if it's like a cop show, it's like, it's not the horror that you're watching, it's catching the bad guy.
Yeah.
For me, that's what drives that. And then you have to balance, like, what kind of ugliness am I going to endure to watch the victory or the success? So I don't know. That's just kind of the question that I think about and wonder about. I like this idea of it being, how do we help students discern? And that's really, one, I guess it's just meeting them where they're at and what are you consuming, and are you, and then engaging in dialogue with them about, tell me what you're thinking about that, which demonstrates their discernment.
Well, and I'm just going to give an example that's come up a lot in our youth ministry recently. It's like girls reading these novels that are, parents think they're good books, but they are not good books. And actually, there's probably some arguments that there are some publishers that are targeting sexualizing little girls with. So there's some really strange things.
Yeah.
But one of the things is okay, instead of like, as you kind of read it and go, oh, they're reading this book with this kind of stuff written into the text and the storyline, and it's, you kind of want to the initial is kind of disgust and revulsion, like, whoa, like, 6th and 7th graders are reading this content under the guise of like, this isn't, but here's the thing, is like, okay, so they've read it, you know what I mean? Well, why? The question then becomes, there's a difference, there's a line, like, so have they read it or not? Obviously, if you know of it and you have awareness, you're not going to give that to your kid, but kids read it. So now you got kids who have read this book, with this content. Okay, so then the question becomes with those kids is like, okay, so what about this was attractive to you, and not being, and then kind of discerning like what you long for, which is maybe intimacy and connection, and to be known completely and fully is a good thing. You know what I mean? And to validate this desire, and you went to this, but you went to the wrong place for it. You know what I mean? And trying to help them say like, you can have that, with, with your friends in small group. You know what I mean? You can be honest and open and share your heart, and you can feel these like connections. You know, and because what they're longing for is intimacy. You know, at its best, at its worst, it's you know like, you know, it's a desire to kind of be sneaky and to like get these, you know, hits of dopamine, you know, for oneself instead of actually without the consequence of like being in a real connected relationship with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's inviting those people. It's not pushing, it's like it's building that bridge first so that we can have dialogue and so that I can now direct with you. We can meet in the middle of the bridge and I can point like, hey, over here is a better place to be than in this book. You know, over here you can actually have something that's going to last more than 300 pages and you're going to need another book. You know what I mean? Or whatever it may be. You know, you can come over here and share your heart and your feelings and be known, you know, and be seen and be enjoyed and delighted in. You know, you don't have to go over here. If that makes sense. I'm being very broad, but this is just an example. Like we literally last week we're talking with parents about a kid who brought this kind of book on a retreat and was reading it, you know, on a retreat. You know, which you wouldn't think books are, you know, but then it's like, whoa, like we didn't know this was the content in that book. So how do we build a bridge and help this kid to deal with what she just read? You know what I mean? Essentially. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
there's a difference. There's a line. Once you cross that line, now we got to get into the, you know,
Yeah.
obviously we don't want that kid to read the book, but they did, you know. And the
Yeah.
parent didn't want them to
some,
read it either. Sorry, go ahead, Lara.
Yeah. Yeah. And something too that, you know, it's interesting because whether it's a TV show, there, years ago when that show 13 Reasons Why, I think it was a book and then it became a show.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it because one, I was interested, but conversations with students, like through that show, conversations happened because students were watching it. And it's interesting because the times that I have asked students, like, you know, kind of Mikey, what you were saying, like what is attracting you to that show or that book or, you know, that Billie Eilish song. And, you know, with TV shows, it's like, oh, well, I love the story. And Mikey, as you were talking, it kind of goes back to like, okay, building that bridge and actually inviting them and helping them see the greater story, the bigger story. And so anyway,
that they're actually part of. They're a character
that they're part of, yeah. And so it just goes back to like anytime I've asked that question, it's like, oh, it's the story that is intriguing to them.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, here's another story that's, you know, is also intriguing and is actually better. So that's what I was thinking about when you were talking. And then the question I have too is like, as youth leaders and pastors in the church, with some of these books and, you know, music and TV shows and movies that students are watching, how much, I don't even know the right question, but how much do we stay engaged with some of this stuff? For the example, I watched 13 Reasons Why, and one, because I knew students were probably going to watch it. Two, I was interested myself in like, what is this about? And then students were like, oh, have you seen? And it brought, so then how do we as youth leaders, I guess, how much do we engage with the materials they're engaging with?
That's a great question, because I remember it used to be, it was like a part of your job. I viewed it as my responsibility, and I think it was generally viewed that you needed to watch the MTV Video Awards, Movie Awards, or the music awards and the movie awards. That was like my job. Like you had to dial into that because that's what everyone was going to be talking. Now this is obviously a long time ago.
What's MTV?
Because nobody cares anymore. Yes. So I like 13 Reasons Why. I watched some of it and then I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, I was out the second season. I was like, I can't do it.
I don't even think I made it through the first season. And my drive was, you know, self-harm is a serious part of my story. So that's what drew me in, and it was such a big deal. It is a tightrope. I will also say
Yeah.
this. There are less and less unifying moments like that in our pop culture.
Yeah,
There
that's
is
true. That's a good point.
there is no like, this is the movie you need to watch because all of your kids will see this movie. They're not watching movies the way they used to. They're not as unifying cultural moments anymore that you're like, oh, I'm going to go speak at a retreat. If I use this as window dressing, it's going to be a home run with kids. No, those things are gone. Which I think kind of takes us off the hook a little bit, but also makes the question more daunting. Then does that mean I need to consume more?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like you used to be able to
Yeah.
like, okay, I can camp out here and then I know enough and I'm
Yep.
I'm here, I'm with it. Talker. That's a movie reference. If anybody gets it, I apologize. Uh, so yeah, it does make it harder. And I don't think we need to be experts in any of it. I do think we need to be
Yeah.
aware of most of it.
Yep.
And I do think that there's also more resources out there that can help us so that we can get the broad strokes and not have to wade too deep in the waters, especially with stuff that might be harmful to us,
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah.
This completely secular resource is Common Sense Media.
Yep. Love them.
Right. You can look
So
up a
good.
movie and you should be using this if you're going to show, if you are breaking the cardinal rule and have not watched a movie before you're going to watch it with your kids, at least do this, to find out what the content is and what some of the themes are and what might be some of the sticking points. And that's a secular website that's pretty on track. And then there's, our buddy Walt Mueller and the Center for Parent and Youth Understanding,
Yeah.
CPYU, right?
Yep.
No,
Yep.
am I doing it right?
I think so. Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
slightly
right.
dyslexic. I mix letters up. So we can access some of that stuff to help us. But I think what we're really, and we probably got to wrap this up. I think we're talking about ministering to people that are becoming who they are. And self-actualization is a very difficult process of, sorry, I lost myself. Is a difficult process of them becoming who they are, believing what they believe for themselves. So that means that, again, this linear line of our ability to protect them as parents is starting to wane. It's not a question of will they contact objectionable material. It's a question of when. So now we have to pivot from defense basically to offense. And how do we help them process this? How do we help them? Do they have a relationship with a Christ following adult that they not just can talk to, will talk to? Will they talk to you? Will they talk to you as their parents? Will they talk to you as their youth leaders? That's what's so key to the work that we do, is building those relationships. Listen, 80% of that time, 80% of our time with them as students in our ministries might be listening to the nonsense that we don't care about. But then when you get to that 20% where they have those issues, they can bring them to you. They can bring them to you as a parent. That's when we get to go on offense and ask those questions and help them process that. And try to do it without guilt and try to do it without shame and recognize it as enemy fire, not as condemnation.
Yeah.
I think. And I think that's the hard part. The hard part is we get as Mikey, you and I are parents, like we're on defense mode you start off with defense mode of like, just don't let the knuckleheads kill themselves.
Yeah.
Which might be more for the Puckett boys than the Hedinger girl.
Or each other.
Yeah, yeah, or each other. Right. But then there is all these terrible, terrible things that we know about. And it's like we're trying not to teach them about those things, but protect them from those things. We don't want to introduce ideas before we have to. But yeah, I think that's the sliding scales, that we have to go from defense to offense, but in a way that equips them and empowers them and strengthens them to deal with things. And I think one of the biggest tools is discernment, right?
Yeah.
They cannot discern something that they've never interacted with. Unfortunately. So we're trying to prepare them for a world that is not their own, that is hostile territory. How do we equip them and empower them to live in a world until we go home and we don't have to deal with those things?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the partnership between youth ministry and parents can be so powerful, is that we can do that together and do that in different ways. So excellent suggestion, Mikey. Great talk.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I hope that's encouraging to you guys as you're listening, that how do we help our families go from defense to offense? How do we support them in that? And how do we examine our own hearts as to are we consuming something that's building us up, or is it tearing us down, or is it just weighing us down with junk food? Which I am the last guy to talk about that.
I want to go get me some French fries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I want McDonald's.
I know, seriously. A Coke too from McDonald's, a crispy Coke, a bubbly, sizzling.
You're causing me to stumble.
6, 7.
You're causing me to. Lara, would you please close us in prayer and pray for Mikey?
Yeah. I will. All right. Oh, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just this is your world, and we thank you so much for the beauty and the goodness and of storytelling, but just like anything else in this world, it's tainted by sin, and we see it in our own hearts, we see it in our students, we see it in the media that we consume. And so, Lord God, I just ask and I pray for discernment, that the Holy Spirit would lead us and guide us in discerning what's beautiful and good and right. And Lord, that you would help us to be better youth leaders in helping students discern the culture, and to be able to build bridges with students, and also with parents as well. And so, Lord God, we thank you for this conversation. Thank you for every youth leader out there who is sharing your love and your gospel with the next generation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Guys, thank you so much. Guys, we're going to say goodbye to you. Have a good day.